Hello, D.G. Cameron here. Today I'm going to prove to you that electroconvulsive therapy, ECT, shock treatment, causes brain damage. Today we're going to study the one study that absolutely proved that ECT generates brain damage. It is called Electroconvulsive Therapy Reduces Frontal Cortical Connectivity in Severe Depressive Disorder, but actually in anyone. This is the parent study called Electroconvulsive Therapy Reduces Frontal Cortical Connectivity in Severe Depressive Disorder, and it was published in 2012 and went worldwide. But it did not make the impact that it should have made because it was spun in a positive light. This was the first study to definitively prove and find brain damage with ECT. The study has 9 patients or 9 recipients of ECT. These 9 brains that you see on the screen represent all 9 patients. Each one is a separate individual. These MRI pictures were taken before ECT and after ECT, and the results of both are superimposed upon the screen. This study was different, however, than even other MRI prospective studies, that is, before and after ECT, because this study used a program of mathematics which was able to count the number of neurons in each section of the brain, each what they call voxel of the brain. And what they found was that all the damage was occurring in the left prefrontal lobe. So watch my cursor carefully, because we're just looking at this part of the brain, the left upper left-hand corner of the brain in each of these 9 recipients. This black substance in between is called sucal widening. It is not part of the study. The only part of the study is this left prefrontal lobe or left prefrontal cortex, and that's represented in this part of the brain right here if you'll follow my cursor. So this part of the brain in the orange, it represents before ECT, and the blue, for instance, right here, follow my cursor, the blue right here, that represents the remaining connectivity in the brain, in the left, the hub of the brain. One of the main functions of the left prefrontal lobe, it contains a lot of memory, and many individuals complain of memory loss due to ECT. It's very common, and recipients often declare that they have long-term memory loss, and they've lost years of their life, and the industry always continues to deny this. They only will admit that there's memory loss right around the time of the treatment, which is a lie. Many people complain that they have lost years of their memory, of their childhoods, and so forth. And the industry, because they have never been able to definitively prove damage, no one has been able to definitively prove damage. Because of that, they continue to say that memory loss must be due to depression, must be due to drugs, must be due to something else, maybe mental illness itself. And so they deny the existence of long-term memory damage. But with the parent study, we have finally found the brain damage. And here it is. The orange represents the picture before taking ECT, and the blue represents what is left of the connectivity following ECT. For instance, let's take this brain right here. This is again, these are 9 different individual brains for the 9 different recipients of this particular series of ECT. This was just a standard series of ECT with a second-generation somatics device. I will talk about that in another video. These 9 individuals took ECT, and following ECT, every single one of them has diminished capacity, has diminished connectivity in the left prefrontal lobe. Let me see if I can explain this. If you would take, for instance, this brain right here, this individual right here, this is the left, represents the left prefrontal lobe right here. The orange represents all the connectivity before ECT, and then following ECT, only the blue area is it shows any connections. So this person lost about 50% of the connections in her left prefrontal lobe. Let's suppose that this individual has 1 billion connections in the left prefrontal lobe, because the brain has trillions of connections. Let's suppose there's 1 billion connections in the left prefrontal lobe. So before ECT, she had 1 billion, or he had 1 billion. Following ECT, he or she has about 500 million left. So this person lost about 500 million neurons in the left prefrontal lobe. What is a neuron? A neuron is made up of those connective cells which carry the electricity, just your normal electrical system, which allows you to function and allows you to have memories and so forth and so forth. The electroconvulsive therapy, which is really now based on electricity and no longer on convulsion, and that's something we'll talk about a little bit in another video, but this electricity is evidently shorting out these neurons, so that these individuals are losing a tremendous amount of neural connectivity, which carries all your memory and everything else. So if we can go from individual to individual, you may not be able to see this, but this person has all this orange in the left prefrontal lobe before, and there's just a little blue left following ECT. So all the orange represents now, following ECT, represents all that connectivity which is now no longer there, all that which is dead. Only that little blue point remains in this person. So this person has lost about 95% of their connectivity. So if they were, if they had 1 billion neuronal connections before, maybe they have, I don't know, 100,000 or so left. Maybe 5% of that billion is left. This one, you can see the blue that is left. This person has lost, I would say, maybe 80%. So 20% of those billion neurons are left. She lost about 80% of the neurons. This one, I'd say, lost 50%. So she went from 1 billion to maybe 500 million. This person lost, let's say, 35%. So this person went from 1 billion neurons to 35% of 1 billion. This person lost about half the neurons in her brain, in her left prefrontal lobe. This person lost about half the neurons in his or her prefrontal lobe, left prefrontal cortex. This person here, you can see there's just a little bit of blue left. This person lost about 80% of the neuronal connections in the left prefrontal lobe. These last two, you can really not see any blue at all, which means the entire orange area now represents dead connectivity. This person has, and this person, neither one of them have any connectivity left with the remaining part of the brain. The left prefrontal lobe in both these instances is now severed from the rest of the brain. These two individuals are effectively lobotomized. So let's read what these researchers said about the findings. They said that functional connectivity in severely depressed patients before ECT displayed in orange, and persisting connectivity after ECT displayed in cyan or blue, showing a substantial reduction in cortical connectivity after ECT treatment. The observed reduction in functional connectivity following ECT treatment was accompanied by a significant decrease in depressive symptoms. So if we go back and look at the pictures again, what we see here, connected to all this brain damage that was finally found with this parent study, we can see to the right, they spin it in a positive way because there is an antidepressant effect. Okay, so here's the results. Supposedly, these people had some lifting of depression. So before ECT, their depressive symptoms were this high, and after ECT, the depressive symptoms were this high. So what we have here is an uplifting of depression as a result of brain damage. So whether the individual liked ECT or felt like it saved their life, or whether if they felt like it destroyed their life, and we have both of these kinds of individuals. That what we have here is a euphoria happening following brain damage. There's a certain euphoria which follows brain damage, and that's exactly what looks like is happening here. That there's a euphoric feeling that we get from damaging the brain. And so maybe somebody likes this effect. Maybe somebody feels like this effect saved their life, but they deserve to know the price they're paying for it. The price they're paying for it is they're losing a lot of neurons in their brain, a lot of connectivity in their brain, a lot of memory in their brain. This verifies that all those people who said that they had long-term memory loss were accurately telling the truth, and they were correct, because here we have the brain damage. We have the effect as a result of brain damage. Now let us look here for a minute with the definition of lobotomy from Wikipedia. This is Walter Freeman, who invented lobotomy, and he received the Nobel Prize for it, unbelievably. And the definition in Wikipedia is that a lobotomy, also known as a leucotomy, is a discredited form of neurological treatment for psychiatric disorder or neurological disorder that involves severing connections in the brain's, the prefrontal cortex. The surgery causes most of the connections to and from the prefrontal cortex, the anterior part of the frontal lobes of the brain, to be severed. This is exactly what we're getting with ECT. We're getting basically partial prefrontal lobotomies. What we have here is electrical lobotomy. Now, these people have been totally lobotomized regarding their left prefrontal lobe, and these have been partially lobotomized. The fact that we still have the right frontal lobe maybe makes all of them just partially lobotomized. But basically what we have here is the severance of the connectivity between the left prefrontal lobe and the rest of the brain. That is the definition of lobotomy. Ironically, there may be some effects of these which seem desirable, particularly this antidepressant effect, which is almost certainly due to some kind of euphoria due to brain damage. What we do know is that you do not get this effect unless you damage the brain. This is why all the machines have increased in power. They are increasing in power with each generation. They're no longer convulsive therapy devices. They're something else. I revealed the power of the machines in my new books, The Great Electroconvulsive Therapy Hoax, Volumes 1 and Volumes 2. In these volumes, for the first time, we have exact parameters of all the devices, and we can see how the power is increasing, and we can see how the manufacturers have been covering up the increasing of the power of these devices. These devices work based on electricity now. They no longer work as convulsive therapy devices. So in my next video, I'm going to be talking about the power of the devices and how ECT can be banned, the best possible legal arguments for it. And we'll be talking about that in the next video, so I'll see you then.